Okay, so I have a little bit of an interesting issue going on here. So here's a simple setup. A constant combinator feeding into a power switch through a power pole. Constant combinator is skull equals 1. Power switch is skull equals 0. So you would assume that once the skull symbol no longer equals 1 and it's not being sent, then the power switch would turn on, correct? So when I remove the constant combinator, it doesn't turn on. It recognizes it's 0 now, but it doesn't turn on. If I wrong interface. If I switch it to 0 manually, then it turns on. If I switch it back to a 1, then it turns off. But this is Factorio. I don't want to do things manually all the time. I want it to be automated. So here's the interesting thing. If I switch the condition manually, then it turns on. If I then remove it, it stays on, even though it's no longer equal to 1. If I exit editor mode and remove it manually, then it turns off. Or it turns on. For some reason, it doesn't work in editor mode, but it does work outside of editor mode. So maybe this is an editor issue? Except if an enemy destroys this thing, it still doesn't work properly. It doesn't turn on. And I can show you with the thing that I was trying to use this for, is my Demolisher Destroyer. So I have the exact same setup. Constant combinator fed through these two poles and hooked up into the power switch. Don't mind any of these other green wires. That was a previous test. We're working solely on the red wire now. Actually, in fact, for sanity's sake. There. Now it's just back to here. Now we're working purely with this red wire. We spawn a Demolisher. Let's speed things up a bit. Alright. Let's also edit or exit editor mode. It got destroyed and it still turned off. That power pole gets destroyed and then it finally decides to turn on. Obviously far too late. It's too late to turn on at that point. It's not going to work for this contraption. But, yeah, I honestly don't know what's going on here. In fact, I'll show you that test again because that was a little fast. I'll stay in editor mode this time, though, because it doesn't change anything. It destroys it, still off. It'll destroy that, and then it'll finally turn on. See, right there, turned on. I don't know what's going on here. Maybe this is a bug. Who knows?